Clearco, we've existed since 2015, and really our mission is to help entrepreneurs and help founders win and be more successful than they otherwise would have. We take a lot of the benefits of venture capital, which includes capital, advice, network, sounding board, and we use technology to scale it. And so we've funded over $2 billion to over 5,000 businesses around the world. The big difference is that we are non-dilutive, so we don't take equity ownership or control of the business. Instead of that, we operate on a revenue share basis. So for every $100,000 that we give a business, we get a revenue share until we get 106 back, and then that is our entire upside in the business. And so we've done this, like I said, for over 6 years, and have funded thousands of businesses, but there are millions more that we have to go to. So just getting started.
Our big innovation was, first of all, believing that these businesses could be backed in the first place. Before we existed, there was 2 options for founders. It was basically go to a VC, which exists, but it's, that serves a very, very small percentage of the population. And it's very time consuming and dilutive for founders, right? I mean, I think we've paid our seed investors 350 times their money, and they're still going up with us. And so venture capital, equity is the most expensive form of capital. And then, looking at the bank side, banks were saying, look, we would give you capital, but we didn't understand digital businesses. And so we were taking a personal guarantee, which for a founder, you're already doing the hardest job in the world to try to start a company. And now you're putting your whole house on the line to try and do that. And so our innovation was really seeing that there was an enormous amount of data. Like, first of all, understanding digital businesses. I mean, both Andrew and I understood what it was like to run an e-commerce business, and that, things like your return on ad spend and how much your audience sizes you've penetrated in your growth were far more indicative of how well your business was doing versus anything on a personal credit score. And so we started ingesting a ton of digital data to do that, and using AI to make the decisions on how much capital people get and then the terms of that capital. And that was really groundbreaking for a variety of reasons. We got to put out capital way faster. Even the big venture funds are billion-dollar funds. The fact that we are, putting that amount of money out each year versus over 7 years is pretty crazy. And then the fact that we took the bias out of these investment decision-making was a really big deal. And so because we just use data to make the decision on who gets capital, we've backed 8 times more women than the venture capital industry average. We've backed founders in all 50 states in America. In the UK, it's the same stat. 70% of our founders live outside of London, and 30% of our founders are people of color, which is a really cool application of the technology.
We're not a lender because our product doesn't have, we're much more of an investor than a lender. Our product doesn't have, loan-like terms. So we don't have a maturity date. We don't take security over the business. A loan is really, in almost every case, a loan against an asset, where if the loan is not repaid, you basically take possession of the asset. And, so what we do is we basically take the risk on the revenue profile of the business in very much the same way that an equity investor would. And so we are, we're an investor, a revenue performance-based investor. And the way that the AI works is effectively, we connect to all of the systems that you use to run your business. You plug them into us, whether that's your e-commerce platform, your payment processor, your ad platforms, your inventory management systems. We use that to project out what the revenue would be and what the use of funds could produce in terms of revenue. And then we'll make an investment against sort of those uses of funds. And we can do that in minutes, so we can make those decisions. It's all, we've invested in 5,000 businesses. We've seen close to 30,000 businesses now that are plugged into our platform. And so we know what works. And so I'd say the other big thing is we've used that data to make investment decisions to date. Now what we're starting to do is use that same data to help the founders that we do invest in decide how to use that capital. So should you be spending an extra dollar on this marketing channel, or should you open up a new marketing channel? When should you be purchasing your inventory, and how big should your purchase be? We can actually start to help these founders, with sort of business and capitalization decisions throughout running their business as well. We manage risk using this data. So we know which businesses work, we know how much capital each business needs at what moment in time. And that's how we're able to decide and allocate that capital efficiently to the businesses that need the right set of capital and not overcapitalizing them. In terms of our risk return profile, so a typical venture capitalist, they could invest in 10 companies, 9 of them could go out of business, and 1 of them could be the next Facebook, and they would still have a great performing fund. And so that's sort of the investor, risk and return profile, we obviously have a very different return profile because our upside on each investment is capped at 6% of the capital we outlay. And so we manage our risk, and our sort of incentive model is so that 99% of our companies succeed. We can't afford to have many companies fail.
We don't have a very big margin.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but we're able to produce consistent returns that are better than most venture capital because we actually help these companies decide what to do with their capital and actually help them make better decisions and grow their businesses. And we provide the right amount of capital in the right moment in time.
And I think it dramatically takes us, gives us a very different incentives with founders, right? I mean, if you're a founder in a venture portfolio, if you're the top 1 or 2, you're getting attention, but the way the portfolio is structured on exponential returns, if you're in the bottom 8, you're not going to get any attention. For us, we actually have to pay equal attention to all of our companies, which is why we built so much technology, because our incentive model is that everyone has to succeed. And I actually think that's much healthier in the long term as well. And you don't get these outrageous examples of when companies are pushed to grow just way too fast beyond their control. And I think, the other thing to pick up on the last question is for founders, this is not debt. The big thing is that we're often confused as debt, but debt actually puts more risk on your business, because if you take out debt on your business and if you don't pay back your debt, the bank or the lender takes your business. You go bankrupt. That is the only option that exists when you have over leveraged your business. If you take money from Clearco and you do not pay us back, you still have your business. We do not put your business into bankruptcy. The only security we really have is the percentage of revenue. And so if your business stops producing revenue because it's a down season or something horrible happens, we actually have to take that as our loss. And so for a founder, that is very different because they're adding the ability to grow without taking dilution and without actually putting more risk on their business.
We changed the name because I think the connotation of bank is very transactional. You come to a bank when you need money, but many people don't have a partnership type relationship. And so with their bank, it's our view. We want to have, and we already are starting to have a much deeper relationship with our founders, even when they don't necessarily need capital from us. And so we've started to build and design and offer data products like insights and recommendations, connections to people in our extended network that go beyond just the capital. And we want to have a very long, very frequent multi-year relationship with the founders that we back. And so we sort of realized that bank in our name, was limiting limiting that a little bit. And so our long-term vision is to be that sort of advisor, partner, co-founder in the business, board member in the business, with all the benefits that come from, seeing tens of thousands of businesses and understanding what works and what doesn't work, without any of the pressure of, oh, my board or my investor is going to come down on me if I make a mistake. And so, we think the only way to do that is to really build that technology and establish that relationship that is much more long-term than just, what many businesses have with more of a transactional sort of banking relationship.